Love it, love it, love it. Dina, do you have any remarks?
Nothing insightful. I'm just sitting here going, I tell my kids today, I'm like, we used to talk on a phone that was connected to a wall. And I can imagine now what we're going to be telling our grandkids in 20 years. We used to get on this thing called Zoom and we talked to people. So that's the only thing insightful that I have. We appreciate everybody being here. We have some new faces and some faces of our regular employees. And thank you to all the adjuncts coming as well. But KK, you're in charge, so kick it off. And we're just so grateful to have Jordan here today.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm excited and so grateful for Zoom, right? That we have the ability to connect like this. And I'm also grateful for Jordan, who is so wonderful and willing to share his expertise on gratitude with us today. And so I want to first give a little introduction of Jordan, and I'm going to keep it really brief. But I really could talk for an hour about Jordan and how wonderful he is. And so, Jordan and I first crossed paths. Oh gosh, what, a year and a half ago? Maybe I can't remember exactly, but
maybe more, but that's all right.
Jordan was a student in the very, very first positive leadership class that ever, when the track started here, right? And you never know how any of it's going to go, right? Something new. And Jordan blew me away with his writing and his insight and excitement about the topics that we're discussing. I'm like, okay, this is so great. I hope I get to work with him in future classes. And fortunately, I've been able to. And now I'm so blessed to be his dissertation chair. And so welcome, Jordan Tate. So Jordan has a background in, he has a bachelor's degree in creative writing. And that is from, I have to look at my little cheat sheet here, from the University of North Texas. And his master's degree is in curriculum and instruction from University of Texas at Arlington. And now he is a student in the EDD program, and he is on the positive leadership track. And like I said, I'm so blessed to be his dissertation chair. And something, though, that you may not know about Jordan. First, he is an accomplished poet. He has had several poems published in national outlets, even during the brief time that we've been working together. And then something else about Jordan that I think is so awesome. So he has been so serious about his studies in positive leadership and taking everything so seriously, and really not just done the coursework, but really thought about ways to apply it. And so he took this knowledge to a software company, and they were so impressed with his ability to help them refine their mission and their purpose and ideas of how to improve their organization, that they hired him. So now he is a project manager at FlowTrack, which is a software company in the Dallas area. So many wonderful things about Jordan, especially his expertise in gratitude. So Jordan, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you take it from here.
Thank you, Dr. KK. Thanks for the opportunity, everybody. Thanks for logging in. And I think it's going to be worthwhile. I want to show you a few things about gratitude that I'm hoping would be better than just Googling about gratitude and how you should do it. That's the end of it. The positive psychology's definition, in the scholarship of what gratitude is, and then how we can harness it. I'm going to share my screen here in just a second. We have 17 participants, and that's exciting. Thanks for every one of you. My lucky number is 17, so this ought to be pretty good. That was always my soccer number, no matter what team. So here we go. Share screen. I'll make sure I show the right one. All right. Can you see my screen? I see people nodding. Since you brought up FlowTrack and the influence the positive leadership track has had on a real software company. I just wanted to share this. Wasn't part of the plan, so I'm already off script, Dr. KK. But these mission statements, this mission statement, vision and core values all came out of the studies of the positive leadership track and how these things need to be assembled. They were assembled in a special way using the input of flow track team members. And they went forward with it and they published it on their website. And it guides a lot of the conversations and the professional development the new interim newsletters and that kind of thing there. So we're already making an impact, and this stuff is a big deal. Now for the presentation. I'm going to share I'm going to start the slideshow, but to be straight with you, I'm a little concerned I won't be able to see the chat. This could get strange. So Dr. KK, you may have to take care of the chat when that happens, because I would really appreciate your responses today. A couple of places I want to hear mainly about your experiences.
I've got the chat for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, the benefits of gratitude in its many forms. We're going to talk about the definition of gratitude as I've been reading about in positive psychology and positive organizational scholarship, but we're going to hone in too on the different angles. I say forms, but really the different angles. There's me wearing one of my favorite shirts, and then here's the overview. What is gratitude? Deceptively simple, this word. We hear the word a lot, but a lot of terms in positive psychology are deceptively simple in that they are complex constructs that really matter knowing the definitions, because that's how we get the most benefits from gratitude, is really knowing how to do it and how to use it. So why is it good? And then how gratitude really works. And then finally, strategies to harness gratitude. I want you to take away some ideas, not necessarily doing exactly what I show you, but I want you to take away some ideas about how to better practice gratitude, how to practice it, how to practice feeling it yourself more, and how to practice expressing it to others. A little more about my dissertation topic, a little more about me. This is where I am in the ACU program right now, as I'm beginning to work on the dissertation. I now work for a software company, and my target is software developers. I want to know how predictive gratitude levels are at work to their level of job satisfaction. This is, software developers have seen little attention in this field of research thus far, and almost no attention has been on the gratitude. And I feel like this is a problem because, there's a major shortage worldwide, actually, of software developers. High demand for software developers. Those of you who may be looking for a different career to explore, you might want to check into that, because high need, and they do everything. I mean, they're running everything. Everything we do now is connected to software in one way or another. This is a very important population, and yet there's high turnover rates. There was a poll at LinkedIn recently that showed that they were one of the highest turnover rates, and I found some research showing that they're not too happy at work a lot of times, and they're the type of people that get stuck on the computer a lot and are missing that human interaction. So that's my passion. So what is gratitude? A little bit of background on the etymology. It's from the Latin roots: grace, generous, pleasing, agreeable, thankful. These are the terms that are associated with it. Other words that appear a lot in the research, and just to get our minds thinking about the world of gratitude over here to the right, is thankfulness, appreciation, feeling appreciated, I should add as well. And then gifts and benefits, blessings, positive outcomes. And then there's some terms I'm probably going to use here that I should clarify: benefactor versus beneficiary. The benefactor is somebody that's given a gift, and the beneficiary is that person that gets to feel grateful for that gift. And they're also used actor and recipient. While I was looking at the etymology of the word gratitude, I didn't think it would be fair to look at just that Latin root, because of course it's the concept's in universal, it's in every language. So I found interesting that arigato, the term for saying thank you in Japanese often, has root words that started with rare and precious. These words meant this arigato is a combination of words that simply meant something extremely uncommon, existing is difficult, and gifts are rare and precious. And I just found that beautiful, and so I wanted to include that. But what is the definition of gratitude? This definition is most commonly used in the gratitude research. It all started really in the early 2000s with Emmons and McCullough in 2003. They're most frequently cited when other researchers are using a very solid definition of gratitude. It's a mouthful, but I try to get it in a sentence, and we're going to talk more about it, so it's okay. Gratitude is the positive emotion of feeling thankful as a result of recognizing and responding to benefits received from the actions of others. And what I hope to show you in the presentation is that there's a couple of components here, and we need all of it for it to be gratitude. Okay, I want to show that gratitude isn't necessarily telling somebody that they are awesome. That's a good thing to do, but it's not quite an expression of gratitude according to the definition I'm suggesting is very powerful. So the building blocks of gratitude, just jumping right off of that definition, simply looks like this. It's really two parts. You've got to recognize the benefit, and this is the thinking, okay? There's thinking and feeling involved, and then they also have to attribute it to a benefactor. So it's not enough to like things and see things that are good in your life. The moment you attribute it to someone other than yourself as the cause of this good thing, this gift, this blessing, this positive outcome, this benefit, that's the moment you feel the positive emotion of gratitude. This is, I should also mention, gratitude is it's a positive emotion, but it's a moral emotion. It's a virtue. If you look at the VIA strengths, you'll see it come up in the transcendence category. It's a very powerful social emotion. So that positive emotion causes to improve thinking and could initiate the expression of that gratitude to somebody else, which is another one of those forms of gratitude. Mostly what I'm talking about today is gratitude for people. But I wanted to mention that you can be grateful to other non-human sources. Gratitude to God, gratitude to other non-human sources. Again, what's necessary is just attributing the gift to something outside of me. Quickly looking at gratitude as it appears frequently in prayer, I just have on the slide here a few examples of what's commonly used as structures for prayer. And we see that thanksgiving appears all the time, almost always. But it doesn't have to be to a person or to God. You can also be grateful to nature or the cosmos or fate. You can be grateful to fate according to these same people in positive psychology and that are giving us this definition. This is my favorite quote about gratitude. I came across this in a very positive self-help type of book. And I happen to like William Blake as an author. Gratitude is heaven itself. There could be no heaven without gratitude. I have a little exercise for you on the next quote. This is a quote. If you Google this quote, see if you can fill it in, but as you're thinking about it, if you Google this quote, you're going to see that it's being attributed to Brene Brown. But I found in a peer-reviewed journal that Benjamin Franklin originally said this. So either Brene Brown didn't know or did know and got this from Benjamin Franklin, or Benjamin Franklin got this from Brene Brown. I will let you decide. How did you do? I tell this quote in so many words to my kids and to myself because I don't want to be spoiled, and I'm susceptible to being spoiled because I've been raised in an upper class home, and I have a lot of good things in my life. Things have been given to me, and the same thing with my kids. And I try to tell my son, you know, I'm giving you this, whatever I'm giving you. And you know, if you're grateful for it, that's what's going to keep you from being spoiled. Otherwise, you know what? You're at risk for being a spoiled brat. There's a big gratitude gap. This is what's interesting about gratitude. I'll read some of these statistics and you can look at them for yourself, but the gap is basically this. We all think gratitude is great. We all think gratitude can lead to success. We all think gratitude is something we would like to see and that would make us feel good to receive. We would like people to express their appreciation to us. But the gap is that for some reason or reasons, we don't act like it. So, for example, look at the top left, 87 to 90% feel grateful. 94 and 96% believe a grateful person is going to be more successful. And yet 48% express gratitude on a regular basis. These numbers are a major contrast. There's some kind of discrepancy here. Why? Why aren't we doing this? At work, most people would like to feel better and would like to be appreciated by their boss, and that would help them feel better. Yet, 60% never express gratitude, or rarely, and 67% don't receive gratitude frequently from their colleagues. But we all like it, and we all think it's great. So something's strange here. I read in another article recently, some suggestions for this is that about 150 years ago, there was a pretty huge push for individualism, the idea of entitlement, and even the wave of self-help and self-help books started to push against the emphasis on the importance of gratitude. The self-help thing's ironic though, because actually you can boost your confidence by experiencing more gratitude. And the way that one researcher explained it, forgive me, I can't remember who, but when people give us things that are of value, it makes us feel like they value us. And this raises our confidence. So it's okay that I attribute everything I have to other people, because all it means for me is that people care about me. God, humans, fate's in my favor, if that's your non-human attribution. Briefly, the benefits. And again, this presentation isn't to, I didn't want it to be something where I'm just talking you into thinking that gratitude is great. We saw the stats. Most of us think it's great. There are some really interesting benefits out there for all three categories here. I'll mention a couple. Physically, several different research articles I've read say that it improves your heart health. They tested this in a couple of different ways, 2 or 3 that I read, as far as it gives you a steadier rhythm compared to people who don't practice a lot of gratitude. It helps people with heart problems recover faster than people who don't. That happened in one study. And it improves your sleep. That's another physical one, which of course also that's been connected to improving your heart. So heart, sleep, among others. Psychologically, just really quick, the most commonly indisputable link through the literature on what are the psychological benefits of gratitude is well-being. It connects highly to well-being. And I'll show you a little bit more as to probably why when I show you the theories here in a second that are used in our research. Social and relational is the other benefit. It brings people together. It makes people feel better. Why is it so powerful? Well, here's where it is as far as how positive it is in valence, as far as an emotion. I found that this is just one study, Bliss-Moreau et al. 2020 on page 1001. These are some of the results that they did. They surveyed about a little over 300 people, and they gave them word associations to try to figure out where all these things fall. And I just can't believe that gratitude is even further towards the positive side than happiness, than joyfulness. I mean, it's unbelievable. So maybe that's why it's so important. And as to why, I don't know, but I could speculate that the reason it's higher than even happiness and joyfulness is because we need connection and we need relationships. And this is a strong bond in relationships. I really want to make sure throughout the presentation by the end I've emphasized really what is gratitude. And I think this equation is very useful. Tesser et al.'s 1968 equation put it this way: perceived intention, that is, of the person that gave the gift. Did they mean to give you the gift? Perceived cost. They may have given you a gift, but did it cost them anything? Did they sacrifice for it? And by the way, how altruistic was that cost, was that sacrifice? It wasn't to get something back from you. And finally, may have cost the benefactor a lot, but how much do you value the benefit? So in their literature, in their study, they confirmed, they validated that this was a thing, that all three variables here decided upon how strong gratitude was. It was an interesting study because they wrote different stories and they had participants, they had over 100 college students look at all these different scenarios of these stories, put themselves in the shoes of the narrator or the protagonist rather, and they adjusted these variables, and the numbers came out that these really mattered, and it had a lot to do with the gratitude. I think this is a useful equation. The theories most used as theoretical frameworks for gratitude studies, and most mentioned and most confirmed, are these two. One is more of a personal thing, and the other is about relationships. When we feel the positive emotion of gratitude, according to the broaden and build theory, we can think better in the moment. Basically, we're more creative, and we get to solving the problem faster, or better, or have better ideas. But because of this, it improves our abilities in the future, our personal resources, as they call it. The other one is the find, remind, and bind theory. Gratitude helps us develop and strengthen our relationships. I'll show you a couple of pictures about these theories before moving on. As you can see here in this blurry picture, my apologies, but I see that it's blurry. Oh well. Gratitude is down here. You can't see my mouse probably, I don't know. Maybe you can. When I feel grateful in the moment, I get new thoughts. And then, oops. And then the idea is that you have more resilience in the future. You have more skills, you have more social support. And of course you get all the other benefits. The find, remind, and bind theories, experiencing gratitude helps people find good relationships. That's the find. It helps people sustain good relationships that already exist, and it enhances interpersonal relationships. This is one example from one study by Williams and Bartlett in 2015. This is their figure 1 from page 3. And this is focusing in on one part was their intention, the find. they were trying to show, or they were asking it, can we find some evidence for the find part of this? Does it help people when gratitude is out in the air? Does it help people find good relationships? They found that it does. So the way they did it was they basically had strangers, they were college students, and with the expression of gratitude, they ended up, feeling a sense of warmth, that's safe, and they also had affiliation intention. These people want to connect with me, and so that makes me want to connect with them. And it's more likely I want to leave you my contact information and maybe a beautiful friendship from there. There are four main things I've kind of swam in and out of so far in the presentation. And I just want to make it clear that these are different forms, they're different angles that are all important. It all starts with feeling grateful, but there's also the idea of expressing that gratitude. Do I turn it into action? If I do, more benefits. I feel better, they feel better. But receiving gratitude, number 3 there, are they receiving it well? And when we do, we feel appreciated. And then 4, actually, this is brand new research, just starting to look at this in the last couple of years, but they started looking at people who happen to just see gratitude happening, gratitude expression among another dyad they're not even involved with. There were benefits to that person. They found elevation and an interest in those relationships and doing good things. I have a pop quiz for you. Not necessarily on the stuff I covered, just for fun and to make more points, so I can make more points. Number 1, true or false? You can express gratitude by giving a Starbucks card. Let you think about that one. I'll go through these at the end in fast fashion. True or false? Too much gratitude can lower your confidence. Number 3, I have Pop asked Dr. KK to throw in a last true false question.
Okay, so can gratitude have a dark side? Or how about this? I'll word it correctly. Gratitude can have a dark side. True or false?
I actually don't see the chat, but there's probably all kinds of true falses happening right now. And feel free to throw those in there. And so and why you think that. Have a little conversation here. I'll get to read it later. So the first one, true or false, you can express gratitude by giving a Starbucks gift card. Yes and no, true and false. Really expressing gratitude needs to be saying thank you. It is expressing the feeling of gratitude. You can accompany it with a gift card, but you have to be careful because expression of gratitude is hindered by if they think they've earned it. We don't want to give it as a reward. We want to give it as an expression of gratitude if that's going to be part of it.
Jordan, can I read some of these comments?
Yeah, please.
Okay, well, first of all, Dina says that she would welcome any and all Starbucks gift cards. Okay, so we have that established. Oh, I love it. But and she also said it's not fair being both true and false. Megan Sanders says true, and Linnea Rademacher says that motive matters, which I think, you kind of hinted at that when you talked about that, that equation, the gratitude equation. And then Kippy says to change the Starbucks to chocolate, and boom, yeah, everything changes. But yeah, these are really, they're all really thoughtful, insightful comments, especially the chocolate.
That's right. I even have a citation for the fact that chocolate is the official gratitude gift, expression of gratitude. So I'll share that with you later. Just kidding. All right. Too much gratitude can lower your confidence. I think I did give it away earlier when I said that. I just can't remember the citation. I'll give you a reference list at the end. And then KK, you want to talk about the answer to yours?
Oh, there's the hook. Okay. I'm joking. So can gratitude have or gratitude can have a dark side? True or false? It can have a dark side. And, one of the things I see here in the chat, Linnea said, that she thinks gratitude can be dark if you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Boom, absolutely. And so if you're doing it to get something from the other person, then yeah, absolutely. And if it's not sincere, that can do harm, I argue. And Jordan, do you have any other thoughts about the dark side of gratitude?
Well, I can tell you, and these are in the references, that I have read that there is a dark side, and there is research on it. They've done some studies, and that tends to be true. For example, remember, and I'll talk more about the receiving of that expression of gratitude. People have preferences, as it turns out. People prefer something that's more personal to less personal. They prefer something that's more detailed to less detailed. To just say thank you it feels good when someone tells me thank you. But then when they tell me in more detail about the benefit that they've recognized, why they value it, and then when they acknowledge the sacrifice that I made and how I did it without asking for anything in return, and I did it on a personal level, and I did it timely, all these things go into a more effective expression of gratitude. So yes, there is a dark side. You also, well, everybody else pretty much covered it. That was some really good responses. So thanks for playing along. So I just want to clarify the difference between state gratitude and trait gratitude. State gratitude is that feeling of that gratitude in the moment. And having a tendency to feel gratitude in the moment, being more likely to notice and respond to the gifts coming your way around you, that's trait gratitude. We call that dispositional gratitude. You may have seen that in my dissertation model that I'm testing dispositional gratitude at work. I want to look at the tendency to feel grateful. And that's important in research because I'm not trying to induce gratitude on the spot and then say that it means a whole lot about the future. And trait gratitude is more like that virtue of gratitude that via strength, you can build on that as per the whole idea of your via strengths. And so that's really important. And that's really what we want to improve is our trait gratitude. How do we do that? If you Google, and now we're going to get into some practices, and this is onto the tail end of the presentation. If you try to Google about gratitude journaling, you'll get a lot. There's a lot out there. If you search for a gratitude journal on your Amazon shopping cart, you will again find a lot of them out there. But they don't get very instructive. They don't go into too much detail a lot of the times. You'll just read the same thing over and over as you're clicking around. And so I'm hoping to offer you some new pieces here just to get your ideas going. So gratitude journals and gratitude lists, by the way, are about the most common intervention that I've read about when they're talking about gratitude interventions and how those help, which they do. And I just want to show you some things based upon what is gratitude. What's the real definition of gratitude being used? That I think is functional to know. So the two components from the Emmons McCullough 2003 is recognizing the benefit and then attributing it to a benefactor. So if I answer questions in my journal based on this, the idea is I now have a deeper understanding. I could I can get more out of the same thing I'm grateful for. Just to fill in an example, when I did this, I experienced more gratitude when I went through these questions. My son broke his wrist the other day, and the staff at Baylor Hospital in Grapevine was incredible. I asked myself here, what is the benefit? Well, it's how they treated my son when they broke his wrist. Oops, that's supposed to say wrist. And then why isn't it, although he took a huge risk to do it, so pun intended, because it was or Freudian slip, however you say it, because he was skateboarding. But why was it important to me? Because I have to value the benefit. How much do I value it? How does it affect others? Well, my son has anxiety issues. He suffers from that. And so it's really important to have these sweet nurses and doctors, and they really were incredible. What did they sacrifice for that? Well, I'm not even going to read what I wrote here. I'm just going to tell you one of the things they sacrificed was they really had to practice a lot of patience. My son, he's a teenager, and it can be challenging when they're in pain and they want help, and it can be a hectic moment. And so they sacrificed their time, of course, but they were very patient with him. They're very altruistic in that. They talked to him about skateboarding. They did all these other things that they didn't have to do, and they weren't expecting anything in return. They just wanted to make him feel good. And I certainly didn't expect it. Another exercise, though, I don't know how much you've gratitude journaled or you've done gratitude lists, but over time I've found I kept just writing the same things. And the tree map here is a way to avoid that. So for example, I could start by, because I'm always drinking a cup of coffee when I sit down in the mornings to journal, and I do journal. And this is real. This is a real thing for me. Coffee comes up. It comes up too often. Just want to write coffee all the time. But with the tree map, you can find that there's something else there. Maybe there's a lot of other things there to be grateful for that you can feed off of the first thing that comes to your mind. So running through a couple of branches of this, I started thinking about, on the left, the efforts of so many along the beans' journey to me. How did this coffee get to me? And I started imagining these other people's lives and sacrifices they made. The first one being for my wife, who sets that timer. So, she doesn't even wake up when I do. She sleeps later. The coffee's always old by the time she gets up. But she does it for me. And so on. It can really branch out. Even feeling grateful for the flavor there on the right side. I started thinking about stuff totally random after that. The dentist that said I had good teeth. Because that's what I was paranoid about. I've been drinking coffee a long time. I was pretty paranoid. I'm like, I know I'm hurt. I know my teeth are yellow. I don't know. But that dentist made me feel great about it. He told me, in fact, that he drinks coffee. So the dentist can do it. Your teeth are okay. Okay, this might be the final exercise that I have for you, just to kind of get your mind going. Gratitude, if you're looking at that equation again, I guess I love the equation, even though maybe it would be great for me to show you a lot of new research, is you could create some kind of point system, because I don't think you're just grateful or not, right? It's not just one or the other, but I'm grateful on different levels for different things towards different people. If my mom cooked me dinner, I would be grateful. But if a stranger cooked me dinner because I was hungry and I was homeless, I might feel more grateful than that than I would be when my mom makes it, because I kind of expect her to do it. I told you I was spoiled. And an example I have is, my dad paid for my rehab when I had to go to rehab. He put a check in my hand to give to the treatment center. He put a check in my hand and he put me on an airplane when I was at one of the darkest moments in my life. And he said, just get better. My dad's done a lot of things for me, But if I point system this out in some way based on the value of the gift, the cost to my dad, and how altruistic it was, that's a 90 out of 100. It probably should be 110. Is there an app for that? My answer is no. I'm telling you the answer is no. There's not an app to work on your gratitude, even though I'm showing you all the apps I found. Why? Well, I just want you to be careful again, because I want to emphasize that what really matters is the definition of gratitude as recognizing a benefit and attributing it to somebody else. And expressing gratitude, these things don't always use that definition. For example, this G thanks on the left side, that goes in and embeds into your text messages. And you can send allegedly gratitude messages. Well, they're not gratitude messages. I was playing around with it. It's sending people stuff like chill. And I texted that to somebody earlier. And I don't think they felt appreciated when I sent the word chill, but that is called a gratitude app, is what that's supposed to be. So just be careful. Expressing gratitude is simply saying thank you, but it comes from first feeling gratitude. I guess what I want to emphasize on this slide is that it's more than just being polite. It's not the polite thank you, even though, again, that's probably nice. I'm studying software developers for my dissertation. It's an unseen department in a lot of ways. And that's kind of what I want to encourage you to do on this slide. I just want to cover expressing gratitude to think outside the usual relationships and think about who else should get to feel appreciated for what they do. What are they sacrificing? What are they doing? And how does it impact you? And sometimes even just a sticky note on somebody's desk can make a lot of difference. Dr. KK and I talked about this earlier, that, we actually save that kind of thing. Someone gives me a thank you card or puts a sticky note on my desk, I save it. I've got all kinds of old notes and things like that. It means a lot to us. The receiving gratitude goes back to that dark side we want to avoid. We want to make sure people understand those motives it's not very effective. We want to make sure they understand how we feel gratitude, not just that we want to reward them or give them an honorable mention at the meeting. Cardin et al. In 2021 found that expressing gratitude in the workplace might only be as effective as it's perceived by the receiver of the expression of gratitude. If that felt like loopity-loop, it does, because these different forms of gratitude, I get, you can really confuse yourself. But the bottom line is, you can want to express gratitude, then you can express gratitude, but what's really important is that they get the message and that they understand. 68% in the Cardin et al. 2021 study reported feeling significantly bothered when people didn't express thanks to them. And maybe some of them were, but they didn't feel like it. They didn't feel like they were. I'll read you this quote, and then you can speed read the last piece there at the bottom. But whether helpers receive gratitude or not makes a difference for their eudaimonic well-being. And I guess I wanted to read that one too, because I wanted to challenge myself on the spot to pronounce eudaimonic correctly. So in the chat, describe a time you've received an expression of gratitude. And I finally figured out how to read the chats. My husband has started praying for me in the mornings. Wow.
Oh,
That just blows my mind, because you're receiving gratitude by him expressing the gratitude to God in front of you. Wow, that's an angle I haven't even thought about. How special. Oh, Core Award. See how powerful gratitude is? Can't talk about it without crying. So I got to tell you this. I had several examples of that tree map gratitude that I had put together, and we couldn't go. There's no point in going through all of them. But one of the ones I had on here was, I started with my brother. I'm grateful for my brother. In the tree map, by the end of the tree map, I don't think I would have been able to get through it. I don't think I would have been able to share with you guys. I would have been crying. And I think half the audience is now crying, and all we're doing is recalling gratitude expressed to us. Unbelievable. Witnesses to this benefit as well. To give you a little picture to make sure we understand the difference between a witness, you have two people expressing gratitude. Sorry about that. One's expressing gratitude to the other for something that they did. This witness sees this and good things come of it. So, when you express gratitude in public, you don't even know. We don't even realize how much impact it's having in this collective gratitude, and through the find, remind, and bind theory, how much impact it's having on the positive environment around us. I told you this witnessing gratitude is just now getting looked at. And you can see here the dates of this. Hot off the press, Walsh et al. 2022 found that witnessing gratitude increased elevation, like I was mentioning earlier, well-being and life satisfaction. They, however, did warn there is a dark side to this as well. Watching one's parent express gratitude to a sibling could make a witness feel guilty, and so on. Page 13. More chat time. If you haven't shared on one of these that's been asked, kind of asked this in a different way, but what other things can you share with us? This is the chat's better than the presentation. Stories are what's important. Nice, Brenda. You're welcome, James. I think James is telling me finish. All right. So to recap, 3 things. Gratitude is a positive emotion of feeling thankful as a result of recognizing and responding to the benefits received from the actions of others. Everybody just take a picture of this screen. I really think you'll be glad you did. Just take a picture of this, because you're going to say, what was that exact definition? It's quite a mouthful, but it basically went down to something. That was just the number 1 is the original one that I showed you. That's the definition. And I just encourage you to be creative in how you practice gratitude and try to feel it, try to discover what you hadn't thought about before, and be creative in how you express it. Thanks for your time.
Jordan, thank you so much. Okay, I want to just share a couple of things about Jordan. One, this presentation started at 3 hours and had to cut down. I mean, he put so much thought and effort into this, and I'm so blown away by it. Thank you so much. And his goal was really to give you ideas of how to practice gratitude, because he's such an expert in this that he has a critical eye of the interventions that are out there, and realized that, you know what, a lot of these things that we've got research on, like the gratitude journal with no instructions, um, even though it's tied to awesome outcomes, it's not really getting at every bit of gratitude that we really could. And here are some other ideas. So thank you so much, Jordan, for sharing those. That is absolutely amazing. And then his dissertation is really the first of its kind. And I was really, really hard on him about, like, we've got to find the right measures here. And anyway, and he's like, I'm not finding any that measure receipt of gratitude at work, or dispositional gratitude at work, or expressing gratitude at work. There was one on expressing gratitude, but we looked at it more closely, and it really wasn't expressing gratitude. It was something different. But anyway, so I was so, what he ended up doing was reaching out to some authors of other measures of gratitude that weren't specific to work. They were all so excited and said, yes, you can absolutely tweak that to say at work, and to put it in that context. And so anyway, and they're all really wonderful validated measures. So his dissertation is really the first of its kind. It's so cool, and I'm so proud and excited. So I had to just brag about that for a moment. And then I wanted to also share with you that in the chat, everybody, you're going to see a link to a survey. Kippy posted it. And if you'll please click on that link and fill out the survey, the FDI committee really, really, really values your feedback. And also, we hope that you will join us. And I'm going to give Jordan a moment to answer questions, but I want to get these things in before the 1 o'clock stopping point. In July, Dr. Brenda McAdoo will be talking about dealing with difficult people, and keep your eye open for your email. We'll have more information on that coming to you in a couple of weeks. But so with those little logistics handled, wanted to open it up for questions. We might have time for one or two if anybody has any. I feel like Jordan covered everything and then some in his presentation. So
Well,
anyway.
I have one. I came
Oh
up with
yes.
one. Jordan, one of my fields of research is organizational communication, and working with organizations like you did yours with FlowTrack on helping them improve their employee well-being. Really, did you phrase all the improvements they could do as gratitude, or did you phrase it about increased engagement, helping satisfaction, that kind of thing, or did you really frame it as a gratitude thing to help retention? Oh, can't hear you.
I just saw that. I gave you a little message. I can't hear you. That's how I read it. For FlowTrack, I didn't really come at them with gratitude, actually. So but the process that I created of building culture statements was based on everything that I'd read, and some of the suggestions throughout the literature that was given to us through the positive leadership track. I sort of borrowed and stole from a couple of different sources within that, and the process was basically this. I requested a meeting and with the managers, and they let me have it. And I said, I want to convince you that your company culture is a big deal, and I tried to do that. And we'd actually written papers on trying to do that in our program, so I didn't come unprepared. And I said, so, but you got to have statements. We have to have something to look at. We can't just say culture is cool. Let's try to be positive. So we need those. They go, okay, we agree. Because I kind of threw some stuff out, and it turns out there was some different tensions that they were dealing with, even among themselves, the managers. And people weren't hearing each other, and these kind of things they were expressing to me. I said, well, let me see if we can put together some culture statements. These are important. And so then there was these, we went through a series of, I had every staff member fill out a Google form of getting their input on what was important to them. We wanted to find out what were their values, and we wanted to find out what was the DNA, and I can give you a lot of credit to Kim Cameron in his books. We wanted to find out the DNA of the culture that was already there. And then I used the true understandings and definitions of the differences between purpose statement, mission, and vision. And I tried to make those that. We went through a series of edits where we asked for feedback after we created drafts of the statements. And it finally reached a point where we had everybody agree, at least the managers, back to the managers, and the CEO said, this is it. And I presented it, and they loved it and said, we needed to get it on the website now. And so there's a section in their internal newsletter, happens to be written by me, that is, we include the culture. We try to build that into the professional development blurbs and the highlights. When an employee gets highlighted in the newsletter, it ties back to the culture statements, and some way or another, they've exemplified one of the core values that's important to Flow Track, because we're not there for the money. We all make money, but we're going to stay and we enjoy what we do because of our culture statements being lived out. So that was that. Maybe a long answer.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That is awesome. And it's amazing that you can take the knowledge and that you've learned and become an expert in and put it into practice like that. It just is such a it says a lot about you and your ability and how you see all of it, and some really special talents that come together there for you to be able to do that and to take it out into the world. That's our dream, and you're already doing it.
It's wonderful. You know, I thought I understood gratitude pretty good, and then right before this presentation, I was explaining this last night to my wife about all the ins and outs and how smart I was about gratitude, and then she said something that threw me completely. I almost completely lost it and thought, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I'm ready now. She goes, she was telling me a scenario. Well, let's run through one of your scenarios. It's like, well, this guy was grateful for us, what we did at the company, and he threw a dinner for us, and to show he was grateful. And I go, well, it was more like him giving the gift, and so then now you would be the one that's grateful. So I know what I'm talking about. And she goes, well, but he was saying that he was grateful, and then I'm grateful to him. So wouldn't that just be me thanking him for the thank you? And then when I did that, if he said thank you, what do you call that? I don't know. And that's when I figured out that there's got to be some kind of diminishing return, positive impact on thanking the thank you that's thanking the thank you, and on and on. But I don't know.
Or maybe that's your next research, right? Yeah. When you're done with your dissertation. I love it.
Yeah. I don't know, like what Catherine said, yeah, who can out gratitude who?
Definitely. Well, but truly, thank you so much, Jordan, for the wonderful presentation. You did such a stellar job, and thank you for everybody for being here and for all of your wonderful comments and questions, and can't wait to see you all in July.
Thank you.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.